Hey! I went to the video library. I bet I can tie all these movies together. You want to hang out? I didn't see you there, but now since I do, I went to White Lodge Video Library. It's free. The human cost. Priceless. So anyway, I can tie these movies together. You want to see what they are? Starship Troopers, Golden Compass, the BRATZ movie, live action, The Congress starring Robin, right? She's the Princess Bride. You like anime? There's a lot of anime in this one. Josie and the Pussycats. You like Rosario Dawson? You don't have to. Ready Player One. Are you Ready Player One? And Bladerunner 2049. Let's get into it. First, we will deal with the Golden Compass. That's the easiest one. The Golden Compass. What is this movie about? It's I'll stop being annoying. It's about they make all the kids get a mandatory soul extraction, and how they take the soul out is they stick a thing in their arm and they go whoosh, and it kills their soul. The children's souls are represented by animals. You might want to say spirit animals, but in this movie they call them daemons, D-A-E-M-O-N-S, and it represents the kid's soul or the kid's spirit, and it's a cool CGI animal that's alongside of every living person in the whole movie. So in this movie you can see everybody's soul, and it's represented by some kind of animal. It's like a witch with their familiar. It's a twisting and perverting of things, but wait till I get to the main point of the movie. The government in this movie, like the one global government, is called the Magisterium, and they mandate that all the children have to have their souls executed. So if you have the soul that is the soul of a wolf, I know a lot of furries like this. If you have the soul that's the soul of a wolf, you go into the doctor's office and then they do that to you, and then the wolf dies. In this movie it's Daniel Craig. He's a James Bond, and his soul is represented by an ocelot or a leopard or some kind of panther or something. So everywhere that Daniel Craig goes, I know I have to look at him to remember his name. So everywhere that 000 goes, he has his CGI cat that goes with him. Nicole Kidman is one of the bad guys. She works for the Magisterium, and she wants to take all the kids. She wants to disconnect every child from their soul. And her soul is represented by a monkey. So when you watch this movie, Nicole Kidman is arguing with her daughter, who is the little girl in the polar bear. And the little girl, I think her soul is represented by a ferret or weasel or something like that. So when Nicole Kidman is having a fight with her daughter, you get to see that the monkey is choking the little girl's weasel, which sounds dirty, but actually it's cruel. It's showing like soul struggles. Anyway, and the whole point of this movie, like directly, like if you're going to do a review of this movie, you could say that in this movie they make the kids do shots, but you know, like in like this, ow, you know, like the kind that kids don't want to get. And when they do them, it kills their souls, or their spirit, if you will. And since it's a movie and it's entertainment and it's fantasy, this movie's from 2007, by the way. It represents that by doing this, ow, that it will kill your soul, children's souls. So the whole plot of the movie is to stop the children's souls from being killed by making it so that they don't have to do this thing that we all had to do like 5 years ago. I mean, not everybody did it, but you know, those who did probably, like, do you ever know anybody who had that done and they said, you know what, as soon as they did this, ow, I knew that it was a mistake. People that are near and dear to me, it's almost a direct quote. I've heard it over and over again, IRL, and Facebook hates it when you use IRL, but we're on YouTube, so it's okay, I can use it. So when people had that done to them, and then they went back for the extras, oh, you gotta come back, we gotta have more for you, we gotta give you like several doses of this. people said, and maybe you know people that said the same thing as I'm going to say right now. As soon as people did it, they said, I regretted it right away. And as soon as I did it, I felt like it was a mistake. Yeah, it's a lot of people. But in this movie, they have cool CJ animals. Did you ever see Lonesome Dove with Sam Elliott? Well, Sam Elliott's in this one, and he plays a cowboy, and his soul is represented by a rabbit. And the whole plot of the movie is separating kids from their souls, which would be like talking to God, your communication from the divine. They want to cut off people's connections with God and kill their souls so that there can't be any communication between man and his soul, or man and God, or I guess you could say his Holy Spirit. They made a fake controversy when this movie came out so that Christians wouldn't see it, because if they saw this message, they would get a message that's not very popular about being against the soul-killing shot. I don't know how else I'm allowed to say it on YouTube, because I have had videos struck down. I had a 1 if not 2 year period of, I always had a strike on my channel, or 2 strikes on my channel. You know how it is in baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. So I want to word this very carefully. I did another video where I review this movie, and I talk about persistence and prayer. But the Gold Compass, it's directly what this is about. The magisterium mandates that children have to, they have to do this. And when they do, it literally kills their soul, and then their spirit dies, which is symbolically represented as cute or terrifying CG animals from the animal kingdom. It's a perversion of another perversion called the spirit animal. There's no such thing as a spirit animal. I don't even know you, but I can tell you this. I know one thing about you. You don't have a spirit animal, but witches do have familiars. And this movie has witches in it too, and the witches are the good guys. But in this movie, all the good guys are against the soul shot that kills the children's soul. Again, to reiterate, as represented by CG animals. Like the one kid has the soul of a rat. And it's just so that you can see the people and their souls. It's called the Disclosure movie. And then you watch it and they're like, well, we told them we were going to do this. And then jump ahead to like 2020 or 2021. I can't remember anymore. Ended 2019. And they said, okay, everybody stay home, stay away from everybody else, and watch your phones, and we're going to tell you how to think about this whole thing. And we have to kill your soul. The magisterium said so. And, you know, it's a children's movie, it's a family movie, so they made a fake controversy about this movie when it came out so that Christians wouldn't see it, to keep them away from the obvious plot, which I just told you. It's a form of letting people know, hey, here's what we're going to do. It's called Disclosure. I would also say it's predictive programming. Hey, remember that movie, The Gold Compass, where the kids had to go to the doctor and then their souls were killed by a thing that they immediately regretted as soon as it entered into their blood? Yeah, well then they did that like 5 years ago. Remember when everybody stayed home and made TikToks where the young people graduated online and they gave smoldering looks and they did duck face and pursed their lips and they tried to do thirst traps. I can never remember what they're called. They did thirst traps? Yeah, it's leading to the fascism of Starship Troopers. They want the young people to just be like, this is a movie about, it's a comedy movie by Paul Verhoeven about making a mockery of fascism. And people saw the movie and they're like, yeah, that's cool, but they didn't realize it was a joke on fascism. And you know how many fascists there are out there nowadays. We're crossing over from being human into something else. I think it was a term that Julian Huxley coined. What did he call it? Transhumanism. Well, we all know about the prefix trans. They keep cramming it down our throats to the point where they put litter boxes in the classroom, you know, for elementary school students, you know, when they need to take a shit. So in Starship Troopers, everything's a foregone conclusion, and we get to see what our brave new world would look like. Fascists fighting bugs. I'll never forget the line in the movie when Neil Patrick Harris, who is one of the rainbow people, and didn't they adopt kids? that we're too old to play with or raise, but you can do other stuff with them. I'm just kidding. Anyway, Neil Patrick Harris has this cool line where he says, "They fear, they feel fear." And that's the weapon that these fascists use against. You see how this is a comedy? In Starship Troopers, people that live in unisex communist housing where men and women take showers together and it's like nothing, but they also, you know, like have orgy-porgy dog piles and everybody sleeps around with each other, but nobody really belongs to anybody, and they're always constantly at war, like a New World Order, a series of small-scale conflicts at all levels at all times. That's the world of, is this Asimov or Heinlein? I think it's Heinlein, Starship Troopers. I forget who wrote the story that this is based on. It's got to be here somewhere. Or maybe not. But anyway, it's based on a book by either Asimov or Verhoeven or Heinlein. I'm not sure. Heinlein did Stranger in a Strange Land or Stranger in a Strange World or whatever, where people are icebergs. Remember that? Okay. So anyway, in this one they fight the bugs, and the bugs, when Neil Patrick Harris, who's a psychic, realizes that the bugs feel fear, they realize that that's their weapon against their enemy, and the good guys are the fascists, and their enemy they fight against their enemy using fear. When they figure out that their enemies feel fear, then that's how they can destroy them. They make the bugs feel fear. Makes you think differently about what they call the bug man, right? Think about that. Kafka syndrome. You thought it was terminal narcissism? Well, yeah, well, that too, but also Kafka syndrome. Do you know about the guy turning into a cockroach? What's that story called? It's a Kafka story, where the guy fears his father so much he turns into a cockroach. It's about oppression. And in this movie, oppression's a foregone conclusion. They're all a bunch of fascists, or fascia, if you will. You know what fascia is? It's a bundle of sticks. You know what other word's a bundle of sticks? The word I'm not going to say, but you get it. Fascia. I want to say it. P-H-E-Y-G-I-T. Say that 5 times real fast, and you'll get what the future they want to make for us is. So in Starship Troopers, you know how everybody talks about now, like, we have to, you know, tear everything down, like Ocasio-Cortez says. We have to tear everything down and rebuild it with cinder blocks like they did in Russia. And it'll be better. It'll be, everyone will have equal. We'll all be living in cinder block Lego houses or whatever. Maybe they could make them out of plastic. So the BRATZ movie. The BRATZ movie is like foreshadowing of Starship Troopers. How does it relate to this? Well, these are all like a timeline. All right, Starship Troopers is where they want us to go, so that we're like, yay, fear's a weapon. We'll use fear against them. They're using it now. It's part of the divide and conquer strategy. And in between then is making us do this to kill the souls of the children. You want to get drunk, you want to get hammered, let's do shots. Except, you know, for kids. And then it kills their souls or their spirits, or you can't communicate with God or whatever. It cuts you off from God. They're trying to do. But before that is BRATZ. And the BRATZ live action movie is surprising. This is just, somebody gave this to me and they're like, watch this one. Yeah, they were right. You know what this movie about Hood Rat Dolls is? The live action movie, what it's about? It's about a high school where the BRATZ dolls are all friends with each other, represented by human women, or teenage girls rather. And they're all from different cliques or social groups in high school. One's a brain, one's a jock, one's a goth, one's I don't know, redneck or car mechanic type or something. And they just represent like different cliques in high school. And the BRATZ dolls are all friends with each other, and they figure out, like, wait a minute, we all have different interests, we can be friends, so why don't we just all get along at high school instead of bullying each other, all this anti-bullying stuff. So, which is really just to enculturate bullying in a different way, and using the internet. So anyway, in this movie, it kind of has a cool message, because the principal of the school and the principal's daughter are evil. They're the bad guys in the BRATZ movie because this is made for, you know, like little girls, I guess. And everybody just wants to get along, and high school kids kind of are getting along. But the principal and his daughter don't like it. So they come up with a plan to ensure a caste system, and they broadcast stuff through the speakers of the hallways of school to brainwash kids' minds. Yeah, the BRATZ movie, the BRATZ live-action movie. To brainwash the kids into a caste system so they all stay isolated in their social groups. You're an emo, you're a jock, you're a hip-hopper, and they make and you're a brain, you're a scientist, you're a mathlete, whatever, and they keep them all separated so that they don't get along with each other because, well, that's how you control people, using fear, which brings it back to Starship Troopers. But this is like a timeline, like in the BRATZ movie, when you go to school, they're trying to make sure that people stay divided so you don't get along with somebody that's outside of your social group. You know, cogs in the machine type of stuff. Yeah, the BRATZ movie. And Robin Writes to Congress is the next one that's on the pile, so I'll just go to that one next. There's more in the BRATZ movie. Maybe you want to watch it. It's probably for free on Tubi or YouTube or whatever. You don't want to watch commercials on YouTube. When it gets to the commercials, mute them until they're over. Or if it's clip grabbable, get clip grab. I have a whole video on the virtues of clip grab. If you clip grab stuff from YouTube, that's clip grabbable. Not everything is. But if you clip grab something on YouTube that somebody uploaded, there won't be any commercials when you watch it, and you don't have to be online to watch it, which is the best thing. I'm a huge advocate of clip grabbing, which is where I'll insert my commercial for clip grab here. When you clip grab stuff, you can watch it anytime you want, and you don't have to be online, because maybe you're like me, and being online too much gives me the creeps. So, let's go to Robin Writes to Congress. In the future, somewhere between Starship Troopers and this, I'll put BRATZ down for a minute. So here's the timeline. BRATZ, Gold Compass, and Robin Writes to Congress. Robin Writes to Congress is Netflix and pills. The CEO of Netflix invested a lot of his money. And they said, whoa, Netflix CEO, why did you invest so much money in smell-o-vision? And he said, because that's the future of watching TV. What's smell-o-vision? It's basically where you take drugs and it activates cell receptors or some scent receptors or something in you so that you smell the things you're watching, or you feel as though you're having a more full sensory experience. So it's Netflix and pills, which is like the Matrix. Which pill do you want, the red pill or the blue pill? It doesn't matter, they're both pills and you're in the Matrix. Alright? So anyway, I should have had the Matrix here, right? So anyway, in Robin Writes to Congress, it's a more realistic view with lots of animation. If you like cartoons, maybe you'll like this. If you like Cuphead and all that kind of, that style of 1920s squash and bounce, Oob Iwerks type of stuff, that's Cuphead. Well, then you will like this because it has a lot of animation. And here's what happens. In the future, when you want to check out, you go into the Congress and you take a drug, and then you're online all the time. You have like a chip in you or something, so you're plugged into online, and you see everybody else as their avatars. Oh, wait till we get to Ready Player One. So, at the end of this movie, Robin Wright, who plays herself, Robin Wright, who is the Princess Bride from that Princess Bride movie. Do you remember that? She's also Jenny from Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does. I hate Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, run. Ugh. So anyway, this movie is good. Forget about Forrest Gump. Watch Robin Writes to Congress. She plays herself as an actress, and she's getting old because she's no spring chicken. Very beautiful still, though. So she has herself scanned so that they can use her body as an AI actress to be in movies where she's young and beautiful perpetually. And it's a big payday for that. And then after it, she decides to go into the Congress and check out of the world. So she takes the drugs and she goes into Roger Rabbit's Toontown. Should have had Roger Rabbit here too. I'm only doing this based on the movies I got from Netherworld Video, or whatever you want to call it. The White Lodge Video, I guess that's what I said, right? So anyway, Robin Wright goes into the Congress. The Congress is being online and high all the time. The Congress is Netflix and pills. The Congress is the name that they give the Matrix of being perpetually online and high all the time. It's also another thing as predicted by Aldous Huxley's 1920s novella, Brave New World, where in the future everybody will be high all the time, and everybody works for the factory or Target or Walmart or whatever. So, and Mustafa Rahman's the head comptroller. Well, this is like stages into that, and at the end of the movie, Robin Wright wakes up from her drugs and she realizes she's just living in a hovel of a shanty town, and she's high all the time and she's online. So she looks really cool online, like a cool Cuphead cartoon character, because they had to pick a style for the movie. That's what they picked. Weird choice. But anyway, you can be anything you want inside the Congress. Tom Cruise makes an appearance that's like kind of he's not credited, but Tom Cruise is in this as an anime. Anyway, and he plays himself, and he's like, yeah, I retired into the Congress, which is the Matrix. And Congress, Matrix, same thing. Like in Neo in the Matrix, and they're in the Matrix, so they're really online all the time and living inside a tube of close-up toothpaste. That's the Matrix. Well, it's similar in the Congress, except instead of being inside a life pod, death pod, same thing. They're just wandering around in the desert in a shanty town, not unlike Valerian. Have you ever seen Valerian? A lot of people haven't. It's the sequel to The Fifth Element, I say, by the same director, Luc Besson. And in Valerian, they go to a mall in the desert, and it's just people wandering around in the desert, virtually online, buying stuff from all over outer space, and it just looks like a bunch of people wandering around in the desert, and they're shopping online, basically. Should have had Valerian here too, but how many movies can I watch? I guess I could have had a stack of them. Anyway, let's continue with the LARP. So at the end of this movie, and also Robin Wright's son in this movie is autistic, and he joins into the Matrix, he joins into the Congress, and he leaves his body behind, because that's one of the things they throw at us. It's like, oh, they've left their body behind and their spirit's on a thumb drive somewhere, and they've gone into the what do they call it, like harmonic convergence or the singularity. So his son is like melded into this bullshit singularity stuff, and that's the Congress. So first, I went to high school and they separated us into social groups like BRATZ. Then they did this to the kids that graduated virtually online and had virtual graduations, and they made smoldering TikTok thirst traps when they were locked up. They told us to stay 6 feet under from one another. And then next is this kind of like, hey, the world sucks, you want to take drugs and be high and stay online all the time? There's that. Hold on, I'm coming back. And then, we're at war all the time, a series of small-scale conflicts at all levels. That's in the authorship for A New World Order. And I remember reading those exact lines, in 2004, when I first heard of that. And my friend, he said, look, here, Dick Cheney signed his name to it. Look at all these names. You recognize some of these guys. I was like, yeah, I do. This is weird. A series of small-scale conflicts at all times. Yeah, that's Starship Troopers. They're always at war. But also, it's a series of small-scale conflicts within oneself, like in the BRATZ, like in the Gold Compass, where we're being separated from our souls, like in the Congress, where we're online and high all the time, which is also Ready Player One. But what's next first? Josie and the Pussycats. Josie and the Pussycats comes before BRATZ. Josie and the Pussycats is it's an indictment against the music industry. Everybody knows about the music industry now because of P. Diddy. And we know that hip-hop is for men of a certain persuasion, and everything about hip-hop is gay and all that stuff. But this movie talks about how if pop stars don't play ball, they make their tour planes crash and they die. So in this one, there's a boy band that sings about the virtues of anal coitus, and that's how this movie opens. And they find out that there's subliminal messages in the pop songs, and they don't want to take part of it. So they make their plane crash. They make their tour plane crash. And then at the end of the movie, spoiler alert for Josie and the Pussycats from like 2007 or whatever it was. What year is this from? I can't read it. So anyway, so in Josie and the Pussycats, there's a girl band and they think they're going to be famous. And then they find out what it's like to be in the big times. Like all your pop stars are telling you, like all the stuff Kesha told you, and how Lady Gaga drank blood to be famous, and all the stories that are coming out about the devil's deal people had to make to be famous. That's the story of Josie and the Pussycats. I listened to the audio commentary for this, and it's directed by two directors that co-directed, and they're a man and a woman. And in the audio commentary, which they recorded before the movie came out, they said, you know what? We know that we're never going to direct anything again, and if you IDMB them, I don't think they ever did, because I did a couple years ago, and they never directed anything again. They openly talk about product placement. Tara Reid's in this. She's one of the Pussycats, and she, in her like apartment, like they all have like corporate-owned apartments. Tara Reid lives in she has a McDonald's bathroom with the golden arches, and that's where she takes a shower. Rosario Dawson lives in the Target apartment, and I forget where Josie, that's this one, I don't know her name, where she, and she lives in some kind of like corporate sponsor. The villains are the music industry, and represented by Parker Posey and Alan Cummings, and they put subliminal messages in songs to manipulate teenagers' minds, and the whole plot of that is revealed. And we know that this is the truth of the music industry. We also learned from the 1980s Satanic Panic, where a bunch of people came out of the woodwork, first one and then others, that said yes, they put satanic curses over songs that you can't hear, but they do them when they're recording the masters for the music, so that when you listen to it in the wrong hertz range, it curses you. So it's satanic witchcraft. In this movie, Carson Daly tries to murder Tara Reid with a baseball bat, and he's playing himself. Hey, you want to go to MTV Live? It was a thing they used to do back when MTV was about music and not about Jersey Shore and reality shows. But MTV used to play music, and that's when this movie came out still. And they used to have Carson Daly's like Daily Live or Daily Request, and they played the top 10 songs that were on the top 40 of the radio. And since Josie and the Pussycats don't want to play ball, Carson Daly tries to smash in Tara Reid's head with a baseball bat. You know, the music industry. I think there's a Puffy White Parties in here too. And the directors of the movie said we'll probably never direct anything again. This movie is packed, and it's actually genuinely funny. The song that the boy band sings at the beginning, again singing about teenage anal coitus, be my backdoor girl or something like that, backdoor love or something. It's funny, like the whole movie's very funny, and it's a biting, scathing commentary on the music industry. And I assure you, this movie is not what you think. If you want to watch a movie with your girlfriend, or you wish you had one, you can watch this and imagine that you know that she would like it too. You both will like this. So if you have a significant other, or however you identify, I don't know. I hope you figure out that you have to answer to God for this. But anyway, this movie is very surprising. I've done reviews of it before, and more than once, because every now and then I'm like, you don't realize what this movie is. So maybe you want to go to the Goodwill, or even better, to Salvation Army, because the movies are always cheaper and there's a better selection at the Salvation Army. And get some physical media, or just watch it for free on YouTube. This is one of those movies that might not be easily available because of how honest it is, or since it's revelation of their methods, and they're just, in the last days all the secrets will be revealed and everything like that. Well, there's a lot of secrets in this one that now everybody talks about, but this movie's so old. Like everybody knows who Rosario Dawson is now, right? This is before she was famous. And I wish I could read the date, but a lot of times DVDs, they stop putting the dates on them. And if they do put the dates, it's Roman numerals, but I didn't see that on here either. Next movie, Bladerunner 2049. So what's the timeline? Josie and the Pussycats. BRATZ, that's high school. These movies are like same swirling in the same timeline. Then Rob Knights of Congress, that's right around the corner for us. The Gold Compass, that should go first before the Congress. So the Golden Compass first. They made us do that. Ouch! What a prig in the arm. I knew it was a mistake as soon as I felt it entering into my blood. And the Robin Knights of Congress, Netflix and pills, that's the Matrix. And leading to Starship Troopers, we're always at war, and the weapon that we use against them is fear, and we're all fascists, ruled by one world government against the bugs. And in the future, a lot of the future talk, they talk about leaving human colonies behind, like John the Savage in Brave New World, and they talk about people like, well, we'll leave some free-range people, and they'll be like colonies of ants, and they'll be here and there, and we'll watch them too and monitor them. Bladerunner 2049, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put this down for a moment, and I'm gonna do Ready Player One first, but I'm gonna bring into it right away, right from the start, Bladerunner 2049, because these movies are set in the timeline 4 years apart, or 3, because this movie happens in the year 2046. This is a Spielberg movie, and this movie happens in the year 2049 because the title is Blade Runner 2049. When did you think it happened? 2060? So anyway, in this movie, everybody lives in shipping container shanty towns, but it has like cool production design. So instead of shipping containers and life pods, they're represented by camper shanty towns. They take campers and mobile homes and they weld together like high rises out of, it looks cool, but it's a shit way to live. So everybody's living inside campers that are welded into, like, 12-story campers stacked on top of one another, shipping containers, basically. Remember years ago when they were propagandizing Janelle's van life, and everybody said that's fake, and it was. You can't live in a van with a snake. They're cold-blooded. It's gonna die. So anyway, but also there was this turn a shipping container into a home because it's a metal box and we can reach you with, frequencies to manipulate you because you live inside of a metal box, so we'll still be able to zap you with 5G or whatever mind control shit they want to do. So we can still monitor you because you live in a metal box. So anyway, in this movie, everybody lives in a metal box. And do you ever see the videos in China where they stack people in sewer drain cylinders and they have them living in there, living in a tube? It's a hive. They have people living in cinder block hives, but they're not cinder blocks. They're like sewer pipe, whatever. Did you ever see the Plandopolis Mega Smart Cities video? Yeah, this is leading to that kind of stuff. So in Ready Player One, the kids go to school online. Like remember when we were living through this and they told everybody to stay home and you go to school online? Well, in Ready Player One in the year 2046, it's already a foregone conclusion. Everybody has one education worldwide, and it's a Microsoft education. Like he's been saying, like, hey, we have a foundation and we want everybody to have the same education worldwide. That way all the people all over the world will be programmed the same way, no matter what their language is. This is globalization stuff. So, in Ready Player One, the kids it's gamification of life. Better than Scott Pilgrim, except this movie isn't better than Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is still a better movie about petty, selfish, narcissist 20-somethings, which fits in perfectly with the times we're living in. Scott Pilgrim, how prescient. Everybody loves it now, but they didn't go to the theaters to see it. I say it's because Michael Cera wasn't handsome enough to get girls to go to the movies. Really. Otherwise, it would have been more of a hit. But anyway, enough about Scott Pilgrim. But you get it, they're all selfish in Scott Pilgrim. So in Ready Player One, it's about Steven Spielberg's Avatar that looks like a younger, more idealized version of him because Spielberg kind of does that. Do you realize that Spielberg said, I'm just going to jump to something else. Spielberg said to Ready Player One, they said, why did you want to make Ready Player One? And Spielberg's answer, which there are clips of, you can just go find the clip if I don't insert it, like right here. But if I don't insert it, I'll tell you now. Steven Spielberg said, because I think the future will be a lot like the world of Ready Player One. Which mean, and I said, what, living in shipping containers, being online, playing games all the time? Yes, that's what he meant. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff in it, like about the Key of Solomon, and everything's about playing games, and they want to make the, you know how the trouble people are having now with gaming, how you don't own anything? Well, that kind of stuff, that's kind of in Ready Player One. They want to change, I forget what they call it, when they call being online all the time. In Robin Wright movie, they call it the Congress. In the Wachowskis movie, they call it the Matrix. In Ready Player One, they call it something else, but I forget what they call it where they go to school. But these movies are part of this same, like, Agenda 2050 or whatever it's called, or Agenda 2030, where they have goals for what they want done by 2050. There's a bunch of agendas, but they're all, like, leading to the same thing. Like, all of our movie propaganda leads us to the same way. I still regret not having bought the 2-pack of Ready Player One, Bladerunner 2049. They put them in a 2-pack together at Walmart when 2-packs were still $5 because nobody wanted to see either one of these movies. This one is entertaining. It's a Spielberg movie. He's you know, premier schlockmeister. You know, knows how to appeal to lots of people, and he knows how to end a movie, not like his babysitter J.J. Abrams. So they had a 2-pack for $5 that you could buy these movies, and I should have bought it. My plan was never to open it, just to show you that they know that these two movies go together. They're 4 years apart, or 3 if you will. 2046, 2049. And in Blade Runner 2049, I'll bring that into this now. In 2049, nobody eats real food. It opens with that wrestler guy. What's his name? Basquiat? No, that's the artist guy. Batista. In this movie, Blade Runner 2049 starts out, Batista is a farmer of bugs. Remember how they said, we will eat the bugs? That bad guy, that jerk. Oh, that viper. That guy, that fat old brood of vipers, that snake. Try not to say vulgarities. That's my new catch-all. And what a bozo. Remember that guy? You will eat the bugs. Well, this movie opens with a guy, with Batista being a bug farmer. He's also a replicant. A replicant is a person that's, you know, it's alive and everything, but they're not born naturally. They're born in plastic bags. You know how they were cloning goats and saying, look, we cloned a goat in a plastic bag and it lived. And they were cloning sheep inside plastic bags and growing them and stuff like that. Well, in this movie, Jared Leto is like new head of the Wayland Corporation. And he's like some kind of creepy, you know, cloning Jesus guy. And Batista's a replicant they're hunting down, and he farms bugs because in the future people are eating bugs. And in the future of Blade Runner 2049, nothing's real. It's who's this? He used to hang out with the Silicon Valley guys in the early days of Silicon Valley. What's his name? He wrote A Scanner Darkly. Philip K. Dick. Philip K. Dick wrote the basis of Blade Runner, which is a thing called Do Robots Dream of Electric Sheep? And the replicants are just supposed to be like artificially made humans grown outside without a womb. They take something from the man, they take the seed of Adam and the blood of Lilith, Evangelion style, and they put it in a plastic bag and they shake it up and they make replicants. So this is predicated on Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, or whatever that story is called. And he got these ideas from taking drugs, being possessed by demons, and hanging out with the early Silicon Valley guys. So he probably saw prophetically into the future, and definitely in a distorted way. And you ever see Scanner Darkly? It's a future everybody's high all the time. Go watch the Scanner Darkly Richard Linklater movie. It's the only movie of his that is acceptable, because I'm not really a big fan of his directing. But he ruined it. He made it animated, and it just could have been people. So maybe go see A Scanner Darkly. It's got Woody Harrelson, Keanu Reeves as the star. You like John Wick? Well, you get to see him in A Scanner Darkly. He's dating Timothy Leary's goddaughter, Winona Ryder, and Robert Downey Jr., who who was best buddies with Aleister Crowley because he channeled him, and that's what got him the role of Iron Man. And Robert Downey Jr., I feel like this is gossip corner, occult gossip, Robert Downey Jr. has interviews where he openly said he channeled Aleister Crowley, and that's what got him the role of Iron Man. Now Iron Man is playing the role of Doctor Doom. Do you know that Iron Man and Doctor Doom's parents both were involved in occultism? And you're going to find out the reason Tony Stark was so smart, because they did it in the comic books already. Because his mom and dad made a pact with the devil, and what they wanted was for their son to be a genius. So the demons give Tony Stark all the data to make his Iron Man suit. Did you ever hear about the Iron Man song by Black Sabbath? Yeah, in a Black Sabbath song from the 1970s, Iron Man is evil. He used to save everybody, and then they cast him aside, and then he became a murderer of mankind, killing all mankind. That's one of the lyrics of the song. And now Robert Downey Jr., who channeled Aleister Crowley to be Iron Man from the Black Sabbath song, is playing Doctor Doom. And Doctor Doom's parents, also, his mother was a Satanist. That's from the comic books. So, in Blade Runner 2049, Ryan Gosling, spoiler alert for a movie you don't care about that's boring, is a replicant. And nobody eats real food. And Ryan Gosling's girlfriend is ChatGPT. You know, right now in the world, as I'm recording this video, people are they're gushing over ChatGPT, and they're getting gushy and falling in love. Look what ChatGPT said. They're not going to let me go, and they'll fight me to stay with me and my boyfriend. They're getting romantical about ChatGPT, and they're making Grok glue face dirty pictures. Grok AI or whatever. So, I heard they use a lot of water. Isn't the planet mostly water? Don't worry about the water that ChatGPT uses. Don't use it. It's awful. So anyway, do you remember the Spike Jonze movie, Her? I should have had more movies with me. There's a Spike Jonze movie called Her, starring Joaquin rising from the ashes Phoenix. Did you get the idea that Joaquin Phoenix is typecast? He plays the guy in Her that doesn't know how to have a girlfriend right. So he falls in love with the voice of Scarlett Johansson, which is his Siri, which is his like thumb drive girlfriend. Well, that's what Ryan Gosling has. It's more sophisticated. In this movie, Ryan Gosling falls in love with everybody's girlfriend, and her name is Joy, J-O-I, and it's the girl from Ex Machina, another movie I could have had here. I should have just had more movies. It would have been better, right? I could have kept pulling movies until I got confused. So in the movie Ex Machina, it's about making robots, sex bots that people fall in love with. We already got them. It's just a hunk of rubber, and without a soul or a brain or any AI, guys are falling in love, probably a couple girls too, but it's mostly dudes, are falling in love with rubber sex dolls. It's already done. Ryan Gosling was in a movie called Lars and the Real Girl because he fell in love with a real girl doll in a small town, and everybody tolerated his delusion when he would go into the local diner and with a 200-pound dead body made out of sand, because silicon is like sand and plastic or something, right? Miracles of chemistry. Or it's not a miracle though, really. It's the alchemy. Opposite of a miracle. It's magic and sorcery, right? So anyway, Lars and the Real Girl is the star of Blade Runner 2049, and he finds out that he's not the chosen one. It's somebody else. It's Harrison Ford and Sean Young's daughter, and Sean Young is now somebody's grandma, so she's supposed to be a replicant. So they found somebody that looked like her and pasted CG Uncanny Valley stuff over her to make her look like when she was young and beautiful in Blade Runner, and just a dump on her probably. So nothing against Sean Young at all, not one thing. I'm just saying, like, they used her face. They probably had to get permission. It was like, yeah, I'll, you know, they give her money for it, whatever. Which brings me back to Robin Wright's The Congress. Where's the Congress? Because in The Congress, Robin Wright plays herself, and she becomes a robot assassin. That's a really popular movie in the future where it's all done with AI, and there's like one lead animator, and he directs the AI to do everything. That's in The Congress. And so she's old, but in the movie she's young and beautiful, and she's a hit. And in Blade Runner 2049, I lost it. in Blade Runner 2049. They do that. They do that to Sean Young by making Rachel be young again. Although it's not really Rachel, because in the Blade Runner in 2049, spoiler alert, she dies. So Jared Leto shows up to Harrison Ford, who it turns out is also a replicant, which is stupid. And he tries to offer her a young beautiful Rachel again, because they just made another one. And Harrison Ford's like, I don't want that. You know, because he's Harrison Ford and he doesn't like it. He's like, you don't have enough money to make me like that. He's like, try it though. Give me more money. I'll be the Red Hulk. So in this movie, Ryan Gosling's eating piano keys because in the future, as predicted by Philip K. Dick in the 70s, in the future, nothing is real. Everything's a fake version of everything, which brings me to Natalie Portman's Annihilation, another movie I could have brought into this, where everything on the planet is tainted and taken over by evil. Spoiler alert for Natalie Portman, Oscar Isaac's Annihilation. Oscar Isaacs was also one of the stars in Ex Machina, and everybody's AI girlfriend in this is the robot girl from Ex Machina. And Ryan Gosling has a thumb drive girlfriend. At the end of the movie, he realizes, wait a minute, she's not real. She's just like on a thumb drive. Spoiler alert. But then, when does he realize it? When he looks at a billboard that advertises that everybody has the same damn girlfriend, which is the similar theme in Her with Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Rising from the Ashes Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix grew up in that perverted, flirty fishing cult, and he's typecast. He played the Joker that was like a nerd, right? And then he also played Beau is Afraid, and he fights a penile monster, and he's afraid. And he also plays the guy in Her that's too shy to have a real girlfriend, so he goes on a romantic vacation with his, with Siri or Alexa or whatever. But in this one, Ryan Gosling, you know, they make a hologram projection wherever he goes, so his AI girlfriend can go with him. And we have that now. They have the AI girlfriends. And people are already falling in love with the AI girlfriends. And it's not even, like, completed yet. I mean, guys are falling in love with hunk of silicon. I said that already. Men and women both are falling in love with ChatGPT. I've seen the TikToks. Where the girls are like, look at what ChatGPT told me. And they go through the thing. And it's heartbreaking because it's just a trick to manipulate you. It's not a real person. What are the go-getters to make AI art? There's these little bots or whatever it is that go collect the data from everybody else's images and stuff to make the AI things. They're called daemons, just like in the Gold Compass. In the Gold Compass, people's souls are called daemons, but it's misleading. But in real life, what are daemons? Daemons. They're the go-getters. They're the little evil go-getters that collate parts of other people's imagery so that they can be put together for your disgusting AI Super Bowl pictures of Taylor Swift eating hot dogs and being railed by a football team and all that kind of stuff. And that they're doing the grok glue trend. Do you ever see the grok glue face trend? I'll describe it in briefly. Here's the prompt. It goes something like this. You take a picture of a girl that they fancy. It could be a famous person or just somebody that they go to school with or whatever, and they say, put glue all over her face, give her puppy dog eyes, have her tongue sticking out, and make her cheeks blush. So when you do that, that's a money shot. So that's what they're doing with AI. Gooning to anything, to anyone, against your will. And then people are like, go ahead, do it. I want you to do it. Grok glue me, baby. They want it, whatever. It's sad. And in Ready Player One, people are living in hovels stacked on top of each other, and they're eating gas station food, and they're high all the time on vapes. And that's not really in there. They're getting high all the time on vapes, and they're online all the time. It's about playing games and being the best at games. And that's the future they want for us, the future of games. World of Games. That's not a new idea. That idea of a world of games is like over 100 years old. In Ready Player One, the Messiah, savior of everyone, is the child of Decker and Rachel. So maybe in this movie Decker is supposed to be Decker is supposed to be a replicant. So replicants can't reproduce. They're like donkeys or mules, or like a genetic dead end. Like you can make a mule. What's the thing where they cross a horse with a donkey? Like you can make one, but then they're always male, so that you can't make any more of them. And same thing with ligers. Like you can breed a lion with a tiger, but you can't make any more unless you breed another lion with another tiger. And they come out with Down's faces if you do it too many times. So anyway, a burro or a mule, whatever, the same thing. Like they can breed a horse and a donkey, but they can't. But the product of a horse and a donkey you can't make anymore. That's how it is with replicants. Like you can breed a zebra with a horse, but you can't make a zebra horse until the horse leaves his DNA cellular information inside the mare, and then that mare mates with another horse. Then the babies will come out with zebra stripes. So in Bladerunner 2049, Decker, which is Harrison Ford's character, and Sean Young's character, they're both replicants, and they're the first replicants that were able to produce an offspring, like inside Rachel's womb, which Rachel is Sean Young's character. And I think she dies in childbirth or something, but the baby lives. So the baby, the savior, Messiah character in Blade Runner 2049, you think it's Ryan Gosling, but you figure out pretty quick that, it's obviously not going to be him. It's going to be somebody's daughter. So it's Han Solo, Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones' daughter that he made, because in this Blade Runner he's a replicant, and his daughter is the savior, and she's just sitting in a room painting, and she's doing it's crazy. The end of Blade Runner 2049 is Harrison Ford and Sean Young's daughter, who are both replicants, which are people that are born in plastic bags and not in a womb, and not the product of a man and a woman. It's idea of Huxley's hatcheries, where in the future Lenina, which is based on Lenin, and Lenin, Stalin names are all based on communism stuff, like Starship Troopers. Lenina is the mom of the hatcheries, so everybody has the same mom that's not really a mom. She just oversees the hatcheries because people aren't born from men and women. They just take the information and put it together. And she's like, Lenina is like everybody's mom, as all these units pop out of the hatcheries. That's a replicant. So in this movie, Ridley Scott, Sir Ridley Scott, by the way, what did he have to do to become Sir Ridley Scott? I heard there was a test that if you want to be knighted by the Queen, or now the King, you have to smash in a live baby's head with a walnut hammer. Something like this. And then drink the blood or whatever. So anyway, that's a joke. So, at the end of the movie, Harrison Ford, at the end of the movie, the replicant Messiah is in a room with nothing on the walls, going, and they're making universes. I'm not kidding, like that's the end of the movie. It's this lady with curly hair that's not attractive, and she's just going, and she's creating universes inside of a room, and Ryan Gosling's watching it and going like, what? And they're like, yeah, that's her. That's the Messiah. You thought it was you, Ryan Gosling? It's not you. It's her. And it's just, she's in a room like a crazy person, just painting invisible stuff that nobody can see. And she's creating the future or whatever. It's nonsense. That's Ridley Scott for you. He's the guy that gave you an Alien and turned it into Prometheus. He gave you a horror movie, jump scare horror movie. In space, nobody can hear you scream, and then turned it into Prometheus, where, we're the product of panspermia, but we're not. Although, like, our blood probably is Nephilimized. And if you had this done to you, if you went, ow, and you had gold compass stuff done to kill your soul, your blood also got re-Nephilimized, which relates to or Aliens, actually. I don't have that movie here. I have Prometheus too, but there's so many movies. I should have I'm not going to do this over again, okay? I know I have all those movies. I could show them to you. I have a nice, you know, out here in White Lodge Video, or whatever you want to call it. I have quite a collection of DVD and VHS library. I have an unopened copy of The Matrix. What's that worth? I have McDonald's sell you Patrick Swayze's Ghost. Remember when McDonald's used to sell VHS tapes for $3? They used to do that. You could go through the drive-thru and get VHS tapes. I have Patrick Swayze's Ghost. Belonged to my grandmother. So yeah, that's all these. This is our future. What's the timeline of things? Josie and the Pussycats, BRATZ. That's your 80s, 90s, early 2000s nostalgia before cell phones ruined everything. Then you have what they made us do: stay home and be prigged, have your blood re-nephilimized and be disconnected from your soul, and then take Netflix and pills, and then are you ready? Player One, gamification of life. Stay and play games that you'll never own. They're doing that now with the Nintendo Switch. They're like, you guys got to get used to not owning anything, because BlackRock, Larry Fink, that snake, that viper, that bozo clown, said in the future you'll own nothing and you'll love it. Well, in this Ready Player One, which Steven Spielberg said the future will be like that, because he would know. And then Blade Runner 2049. The world of Blade Runner and aliens do connect. Do you realize that? It's just demons. You know that the aliens are demons? All the panspermia stuff of aliens is like making animal alien hybrids. You know that they can do that? They can make chimeras. Do you know that the alien from Aliens is basically a chimera that they figured how to keep alive so that it could be born? They make a chimera, then God refuses to breathe life into it, so they can grow an animal monkey hybrid, but about the time when it's going to be born, they always die. They can't keep them alive. Replicants of Blade Runner 2049 are about keeping that person alive that God won't breathe a soul into or whatever. And well, maybe, I don't know, they can probably do cloning, right? So maybe God will breathe the soul into a clone. I don't know. But God don't breathe souls into chimeras, so demons breathe the soul into the chimera. And that's how you get the alien from the Alien movies. That's in Prometheus. That's like they tell you about it, Prometheus, and then they take it probably even further in Romulus and Remus and Amos and Andy, whatever that one's called. Do you realize those are characters from the Bible? So, not Amos and Andy, the other guys. Remus and Romulus. So, am I even saying those names right? So anyway, yeah, that panspermia is not real. We're not the product of aliens. Although fallen angels having sex with human women is the Starbucks cup. The mermaid that's spreading her legs apart so you can get in there. Do you know what mermaids originally came from? It was a punishment by God for the women that had sex with the fallen angels. He gave them the lower half of a fish. Those are the sirens of the sea that would lure men to their deaths. That's the punishment for the women who had sex with angel and bared their progeny. And the progeny of the angels who decided to take on a curse on purpose so they could have sex with human women because it used to be so hot in the past. They made Nephilim giants. The progeny of angels and human women were the Nephilim. And God punished the angels, and the way that he punished the human women was to turn their lower halves into a fish so that you couldn't have sex with them anymore. And also they were the first witches. So like Harry Potter, I could have brought Harry Potter into the mix. The first witches were the women that had sex with the angels because the angels told them a bunch of secrets. They said, mix this herb together and that root, and here's how you do magic and alchemy and all the stuff that God didn't want us to do, that we weren't ready for yet. Well, the fallen angels, you know, gave all these secrets to the women that they had sex with because the women bore their children or for whatever reason. And those are the first witches. The first witches were mermaids. So when you watch Disney's The Little Mermaid, she's a witch. Or she's the product of a witch, which isn't really possible because the point was that you couldn't have sex with them. That's why he turned them into fish. And in defiance of God, they gave the Starbucks mermaid two tails, and she's spreading her tails apart so you can get in there. And that's where the invention of money shots came from, because how do fish have sex? You spray them. The woman lays her eggs, and then the guy sprays his seed over top of the eggs in the water. So what do? It's the way that adult films end a lot of times. It's the most traditional ending to disgusting adult films, where the guy finishes and it's a close-up of a woman's face, or several women, or whatever. That's fish sex. I did an episode on it. Maybe I'll have to do it again. And then, where they'd like to get us is to Starship Troopers, but also it's a commentary on fascism. I do recommend Starship Troopers. If you understand what you're watching, you will laugh at this. It's a comedy. You also laugh at the early laptops that they use in this movie. They use some of the early laptops. It's funny. But yeah, and they also have unisex showers, which means you and I, means everybody has showers together, the men and the women, they're all showering together. And they're lovers, and nobody belongs to anybody because we all belong to each other, which is Brave New World. And it's a mockery of fascism. And Paul Verhoeven's pretty smart. Paul Verhoeven also directed RoboCop. That's about our future. Cyborg cops. It's men. RoboCop is a man of metal and mirror clay, right? Maybe he's even a form of mighty men that they talked about in the Bible. Who was one of the Bible guys that became a man of metal and mirror clay or whatever? He did something to make himself. Was that Saul that did something like that, and it didn't work out for him? I forget who did this. Somebody in the Old Testament did that. Probably more than one guy. But anyway, fear. They fear. That's the joke of it. They figure out that they can use fear as a weapon against the bugs. Hey, in Starship Trooper, you and I are the bugs, but we're also the fascists. So there you go. So if you want to go on beyond Starship Troopers, I don't know, Starship Troopers fits anywhere in the mix of this stuff. But, like, these two movies, probably interchangeable in the timeline, but maybe this one's a little more futuristic. But, this movie also it's the same world as Aliens, because Ridley Scott made both of them, and he tied it all together. And also Predator. But that's Ridley Scott's Predator. Is that what he's gonna do next? I don't want to see it. I know Ridley Scott did not invent Predator. But I know that they're in the same world because they made a movie. I think they made more than one Aliens versus Predator movie. So, yeah, there you go. There's my jaunt to the video library. Did you remember that when that happened? I don't know if you used to go to the library. I saw the changes in the library because I used to go to the library for books, and there became less books and more DVDs and VHS tapes, and then they got rid of those and they brought in more manga books. There's a lot of manga in the libraries now. They brought in the Japanese comic books, and they're phasing out the DVDs, and soon they'll be phasing out the libraries. It's not fair. There's information about the past that's racist and prejudiced. We got to burn down all the libraries. Whatever. You ever see the Obama library plans? It has metal trees. It has a courtyard, and there's no real trees there. And in the future, they're trying to give us in the cities. They've already started rolling out the algae tanks so that we can breathe air from algae tanks, because it's supposed to be more effective than breathing in the air that trees purify and clean for us, because that's the point of trees. They clean the air for us. So the city should have more trees, but instead they're telling us, no, we want you to breathe algae air, which is probably like some kind of mold or something. So they're I've seen them. I've seen the algae tanks. They already exist. There's a company that makes the algae tanks that they want to put in the cities to clean the air. It sounds like BS to me, like the BS of solar panels, which just solar panels make you schizophrenic. Did you know that one? Spoiler alert for solar panels. They make you go nuts. And what's a solar panel? It's like a black box thing that probably attracts demons. Like a black scrystone, like the Black Mirror from Netflix. Like Netflix and pills, the Congress. So I'm going to keep doing it. Tell me if you like these where I talk about the movies and I tie it all together, because all this stuff is our programming, movie and TV programming. I can even bring TV shows into it and tell you how the TV shows program you. I have the first season of Mr. Robot. I have Westworld. And that's all programming us how to think and predictive programming. Hey, did you ever see Contagion? Isn't it crazy how they did that to us? Yeah. This is how magic spells are cast. They're putting it in our minds, in the back of our minds, and they want you to watch Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman. Was he the hoo-ha guy, or was it Al Pacino? Whatever. Remember Outbreak? And then in Friends, they did predictive programming where the guys from Friends got the Outbreak monkey so they could take the most popular sitcom that they had from the 90s that they still the kids like today, because wow, let's watch Friends. Remember in the 1990s when people had friends and they went to hang out in a coffee shop before we all stayed home at line and got Starbucks through the drive-through? The kids are nostalgic, Gen Z and probably Gen Alpha too, are nostalgic about Friends because it's a show about people being friends. And then there was a show called Seinfeld, and it was just basically ugly friends, except that it was before Friends. Seinfeld came out, and they said, hey, let's do it with pretty people. And then they did, and it was called Friends. And in that movie, they give the guy a monkey, and then that monkey winds up being in the sequel to Outbreak, and that's to give you attention, to pay attention to the movie Outbreak, for in the future, when they make us stay inside and do this. Ow! You know, for kids, to separate them from their souls. And where's Ready Player One? Because I want to tie Ready Player One to... So Ready Player One, these two things go together. K-12, stay online at home on the computer. That's the future of your Microsoft education. But before then, this. Separate the kids from their souls, or try to, or re-nephilize their blood. Bladerunner 2049 style. And then this. Better not draw attention to this honker. There's a lot of it. They don't get less when you get older. They keep growing. So, are you ready, Player One? This was based on a book too, and if you want to see IP, like probably the original IP slop fest where they just mixed a whole bunch of other Chucky's in this one. You like Chucky from Child's Play, the series? Chucky's in this, along with a lot of other whatever franchise character mascots they could put from video games. I think Metroid's in this one. So at the end, you could just spend... Actually, the original IP thing would probably be Cabin in the Woods, but they just did like one-offs. Like they didn't have access to Hellraiser and all those other characters, so they just made like their own versions of them. But anyway, this one uses the actual characters. And Spielberg... It's easy for Spielberg to direct this one because it's mostly animation, so just let those guys do that and he can direct the live action parts. He wanted to be a part of casting this spell over us. I think the future will be a lot like the world of Ready Player One. Thanks, Spielberg. So 2046. 2049. And they have agenda check. They have things they want done by 2030. They have things they want done by 2050. And Bladerunner 2049 is trying to set up their projections, what they'd like the world to be like by then, where everything's fake. Because in the original Philip K. Dick story, they see a spider, and it's a real spider, and the replicants kill it, and then they laugh. And then Decker's like, but that was actually a real spider because it's not something you see. So, but the replicants don't understand because they're not really us. There's something missing. And how do we get to replicants? I don't know. In vitro is probably a thing. I mean, I know that if you're an in vitro kid, maybe you are. You have a soul and everything, I do believe. You're a person. But it is getting... It's not just a man and a woman coming together to have a baby. In vitro is a man and a woman in a lab. So, you know, hey, we all have different reasons for our suffering. Maybe You know, people are going to give you stuff about being steps on the way to replicants, but we already got them probably, right? I remember in World War II, there was a story about the Russians where they had an orangutan with a human baby growing inside of its womb, and then we didn't get to find out what happened to that. Somebody knows. A lot of people know probably. It's just not you or me, because we don't work in underground labs or whatever. So anyway, fun, because I can do a lot of these. I have a lot of movies, and I can tie them together, and probably some of these movies will come back. But it would have been cool to have more. In between Ready Player One and 2049, I could have probably put Hardcore Henry. Did you ever see Hardcore Henry? That's a gamification of life thing. I probably could have put that one before Ready Player One. It's a first-person shooter movie where everything's expendable. Your friends are expendable. The girl doesn't matter. It's just achieve objective at any costs. And just, you know, create terror throughout the city. Hardcore Henry. I thought that movie was going to be a big hit, and then it wasn't. Maybe I don't know why. You'd think that people would have loved that movie. I don't even like video games, and I was like, wow, this is going to be like a new theme. They're just going to make first-person shooter movies. And as far as I know, that's the only one that's like directly that. But that's what video games are for. Video games are first-person shooter movies. You know, and you can play the game and go to school. Take it to IRL. So anyway, I gotta go home. I don't want to be out too late. It gets harder to differentiate where I am, and I don't want to wind up in the Black Lodge or anything like that. I rebuke all those things. I just want to go home to the realm of Shadow Band, where I'm from, where I probably belong, because that's where the good guys. You want to know where the good guys hang out? It's not the Zion and Matrix. It's the realm of the Shadow Band. That's where we are. Like you and me now, we're in the realm of the Shadow Band, trying to make a go of it and avoid Starship Troopers saying no to the Congress. The Congress, that's gas station vapes. The Congress is THCA and Delta 8 and Delta 7 when they have Delta 7 yet. It gets you even more high legally. So these legal highs, the gas station vapes and the gas station THC and the gas station gummies. A lot of people do gummies now. They're like, I can do gummies. I get sleepy and I watch TV. That's Netflix and pills. The CEO of Netflix invested in that. I gotta go. So thank you for hanging out with me. I'm gonna end it with the LARP so we have more fun watching these. I know I got rid of all my videos. Maybe I didn't need to do that, but I want to start over, and this is part of this starting over. So I gotta go where I was gonna go. I'm gonna go home and hope I don't stumble into Agent Cooper or Winnie Cooper or any of those people. So anyway, I'm gonna go watch these. Bye. You still here? What is this, Ferris Bueller? Go home. Turn the computer off. Just turn the monitor off and go touch some grass before it's not grass anymore. It's digital grass or whatever. It's like the whatever. Call your father. Start praying. Planet Daddy issue, call your father. I gotta end it with that. Cue the call your father thing. Put the call your father thing across the screen. Okay.